All right, so here we have another problem that we're going to solve for x, okay? We have fractions. Now all these fractions have the same denominator. The very first thing that we want to do when we're starting one of these problems is to put the numerators in parentheses, all right? That's very important because that helps us remember that we need to distribute a negative. And so that is a very important thing for us to be reminded about. That's the first thing that we do. All right, so we've got x plus 5 over 10, okay? And now we keep the denominator because they're the same. We keep the denominator, and what do we do here? We subtract 3x minus 4. And then that's still all equal to 5 over 10. Now, we need to distribute this negative over everything in the parentheses, all right? So if you want to, if it helps you remember to distribute this negative, you could rewrite it as this. You could say this negative 3x minus 4, you could think of it as being a minus 1 here. Remember, if there is no explicit coefficient, you can always think of it as being 1. So you could say, instead of just minus and then parentheses, you could say minus 1 time parentheses. All right, you could also say that. Then we could go a step further, and subtracting is kind of like the same thing as adding a negative. All right, so we could turn this negative into plus negative 1 times all that. So now do you see that there really is a true negative 1 here being multiplied? So in that case, it might be even easier for you to see that this is negative 1 times 3x, and then this is negative 1 times negative 4. Okay? All right, so negative 1 times 3x is 3x. All right, so we can take away the parentheses now. So it's 3x, and then this is minus 3x, and then negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. So once we take away our parentheses, this is what we have left. Okay? All right, now we have x plus 5 in parentheses, but because we didn't need to distribute everything over this, we actually can take away those parentheses, but it was just good to be on the safe side. So now let's combine like terms in the numerator here. Negative 3x plus x is negative 2x. All right, so we can take this away, make this a 2, and then a positive 5 and a positive 4 becomes a positive 9. All right, so positive 9 is just 9. So we have 9 minus 2x all over 10. And that's equal to 5/10. All right, just bring this a little bit in here. All right, and then what do we have here? What do we call when we have one fraction set equal to another fraction? It's called a proportion. So again, since we have two terms in the numerator, let's put it in our parentheses just to make sure we're making this as a package. So if we want, why don't we multiply both sides by 10 over 1 to get rid of this 10 in the denominator. All right, so 10 and 10, those go to 1, and these go to 1, okay? So those all cancel out. Great. And now we're left with 9 minus 2x equals 5. So how do we get, how do we isolate x? Let's take away the 9. All right, so let's take away the 9. Now whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other, so we subtract 9 from both sides. So now we're left with negative 2x on one side, and then 5 minus 9 is negative 4. And now we can divide both sides by negative 2, because the inverse operation that you do to isolate x here is you divide both sides by negative 2. Negative 2 over negative 2 cancels out just to 1. So it's 1 times x, which is just x. Negative 4 over negative 2. Negative 4 divided by negative 2. 2 negatives make a positive, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So x equals 2.